If you're thinking about building that brand new dream home, then you already know it's super exciting. You're stoked, you're ready to go and just start the process. Before you do, hit that pause button just for a brief moment, because it's not just as simple as going to a builder and picking out a floor plan. There's labor cost, there's your material cost, there's the potential for upgrades, there's hidden fees that you may not even know about. All of these could end up wrecking your budget and completely turning this into a headache instead of an exciting time, which is why I'm gonna break down in this video the real cost on averages for building a home in 2025 so you can make a smart decision, a decision you're not gonna regret, and a decision that's going to fit your budget and not break the bank. What's up guys? Anthony Esposito with eXp Realty, your local real estate expert right here in the Cleveland, Ohio area. And when you do go to build a home, or if you're looking to sell or buy an existing home, I have people just like you reaching out to me every single week to help them navigate this process and represent them in what is one of the biggest decisions and investments you'll ever make. You can contact me directly here or use one of the methods I have listed in the description below. I'd love to help you out like I have many others. So let's find out exactly what is the cost of building a home in 2025. Let's start with the average cost kind of breakdown of, custom homes, chain builders. Doesn't matter, this is just average price points. So the average cost per square foot in Ohio is currently $100 to $250 per square foot. Now I will tell you, I did the research. I was looking at Schumacher Homes, Diani Homes, Pulte, Dries. I'm looking at all these different homes and seeing their starting prices and what their square footage of the home is. And I can tell you that the majority of them, it ranges from around $150 to $200. Some homes are a little bit higher. Then don't get me wrong, there are some custom builders that are much higher than $200 or just above $200. Some of them are around $300. But the normal builders, like the more popular builders in the area, they're ranging from $150 to $200 per square foot. And their average price points are ranging anywhere from that $400,000 to $600,000 range for the base price. Now there's some that are in the 300s, obviously, and there's some homes that are more than $600,000. But their average models that they are advertising is anywhere from that $400,000 to $600,000 range. Now with that price per square foot, just so you know, labor tends to be about like the 40% cost of that. So that's gonna be your electricians, that's gonna be your HVAC, everybody who's building the house. So about 40% of that per square foot goes towards labor, just so you have an idea on that. Now with permits can range greatly. On average, they have $500 to $2,000. But it's gonna be based on the county that you're building in. It's gonna be based on the city that you're building in. There's going to be tap-in fees to your utilities. If you have public water, public sewer, your natural gas, you're gonna have fees associated with that, and those can range like insane amount. They have on Google up to $30,000 for that, which I don't know where they're getting $30,000 from, but maybe they're factoring in a septic system. I'm not sure, because septics can range anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000. But your tap-in fees, for instance, I believe Medina County for tapping into the public water system is about like $4,000. And it's kind of ridiculous, but there's nothing you could do about it. It's what the county charges, because it's a quick little connection and they basically say you're turned on, ready to go. But it is what it is. There's nothing we can do to change those fees. Now, with all of that, your permits, your fees, your price per square foot, I want you to keep in mind, land is not included in the base price of a house. Whether it's custom builder or it's a chain builder, if you're building with Drees Homes or you're building with Pulte, it's the same as if you were building with Schumacher or Wayne Homes or Diani Homes for some of the custom builders. That base price is the house. You still have to purchase your lot. So even with the chain builders, you got to pick out your lot in the development that they are building. And of course, the premium lots are going to be most expensive. Now, with a lot of the chain builders, they range anywhere from 50 to 100,000 on an average for the lot. They can go higher. It just really depends on location, of course. It's always about location when it comes to anything real estate. Now, with custom builders, that's going to vary greatly, because with a custom builder, they're building on your lot. So did you buy a half-acre lot? Did you buy 5 acres? Did you buy 10 acres? Obviously, that lot price is going to vary greatly. And depending on where you're at, it can change. Valley City is nearby. That price per acre, last I was checking, was around 80 to 85,000 normally. And there's some other places where you can get 3 acres for that same price. So you really got to do due diligence and figure out how much land you truly want. The nice thing is with the land, if you're purchasing with going with a custom builder, you could use the land as a down payment. And I know like Drees Homes, they will buy the land off of, well, not buy the land off of you. They will have you deed the land to them, and they deal with the whole construction process and then deed everything back to you when the house is built. Custom builders are a little bit different. Every builder has their own means of doing things. Now with the land, with a custom builder, you do have to factor in the lot prep, which that, depending on how many trees or debris, brush needs to be cleared out for the house and like your driveway, that can vary on the cost of it. Normally, if you need a septic system, which again costs, 20 to 30,000 on average, the city is going to, or the county is going to determine what septic system you're allowed to put on your lot after they do a soil test. But you want to factor in with the septic system around $100,000 for lot prep, which is going to be them doing the survey. It's going to be the construction drive. It's going to be the excavating. It's going to be your septic system if you need it. It's going to be a well if you need to have a well. It'll factor in all those tap-in fees. It'll factor in your landscaping that you'll do after you get into the house. If you want to have concrete driveway, that'll be in your lot prep. The grading, bringing in soil if you need to bring in some fill dirt to possibly level off because you want your house kind of sitting on a mountaintop. So the grade comes down and slopes away from the house. That'll help keeping water out of your basement. Have everything flow away, so you kind of want to sit on top of a mountain. So you may have to bring in fill dirt in order to do that, depending on the lot, which most builders will give you a site evaluation before they even start the whole process, which is super nice because you can find out what you're getting into. Now, one of the things that you really need to look into and consider, what each builder has as standard options, because you might be just looking at that base price. You may see, and this goes for chain builders or custom builders. The difference, it really depends on if you want a development or if you want to be, a little bit more secluded or have a little more land. But you really got to look at their standard package, because you may see like a house that is 2,500 square feet. At one builder, it may be $450,000, where at a different builder, it might be $398,000. And you're automatically like, well, that's $52,000 less. This is a no-brainer. Their standard package, more than likely, 9 times out of 10, is not going to have the same standards as that more expensive build, or it's not going to be the same quality of material that they are using. So say that, $400,000 build for that same house, you may get the standards, and then you got to start doing the upgrades. And I can tell you firsthand in my experience, I haven't built yet, but I did go through the process and was close to building. The amount of money when you start upgrading stuff, it racks up super fast. And you're sitting down and it's like, oh, it's $2,000 here. It's going to be $5,000. Do we really need this $10,000 upgrade? Yeah, go ahead and put it in. That's only $1,000. It's $500. And before you know it, you have $100,000 in upgrades. And you're like, whoa, what just happened? Whereas if you go to that other builder that may have a starter or a higher starting price point, they may have a lot of the standard features already included in that base price. So you add in the other options, and maybe instead of being at $500,000, you're only at $480,000. So it's tough. It's time consuming. It's not stress free. It's very overwhelming. You will have a headache. You're gonna end up feeling kind of like mentally exhausted from going through it, but you gotta do the homework, sitting down with the different builders and truly seeing what the price is gonna be instead of just going based off of that starting price of the home. And find out, the materials that they do end up using, because there may be cheaper materials that are being put in one builder where another builder is using top-notch materials. So it really depends on many factors. Obviously budget's the number one factor, but it also depends on what exactly you are looking for and what is your non-negotiable must-haves when you're building that house. Now, there are two things that I want to stress as far as like upgrades go, that if you want them, you have to get them done early on, because one of them you're not fixing at all or you're not upgrading at all. The other one is very expensive to upgrade. And I stress this to my clients all the time. And there is a way that you can save a good chunk of change if you know what to expect or know how to go about it. So when you're sitting down with that rep at the builder, hopefully I'm there helping you out, but you're looking at the different elevations. Say you got A, B, C, and D, and you like elevation C. We'll just call it the modern contemporary look. Well, that could have a $30,000 price tag added on. Same thing with like the farmhouse look. You could be like, a lot of places it's 15, 30, some of elevations are $40,000 more than that starting price. And you're thinking to yourself like, well, it just looks slightly different. It's different materials, things like that. How does this add up? A lot of times what you don't see is the pitch of the roof is completely different. So more lumber is involved, more labor gets involved. That ends up shooting the price up really quick. A way around that, you may be able to take elevation A, which is typically, like with all builders, I don't even want to say typical, with all builders, that is the base price. Elevation A, elevation 1, however they have it listed, that's the starting price that you see online or on the signs. You could end up taking that elevation and implementing upgrades to it to make it the way you want to have it look. So if you want some nice, say, columns on a front porch, you could end up upgrading that and have that done. If you want that farmhouse look, so you want like the vertical siding and black shutters and that typical white and black look, you could end up doing that in an upgrade. And I'd have to say about 9 times out of 10, it's much cheaper to add those few things than it is to upgrade to an elevation. So keep that in mind. You can upgrade the basic elevations to kind of get it to look the way you want to have it look. Now with the modern contemporary, it's going to be a little bit more tricky because that's a little bit more flat roof. That's kind of a bad example that I used with modern contemporary because you're almost dead in the water with that. There's not a whole lot you can do with altering other elevations to make it look that way. It's just, it's the roof pitch that really does it. But any other one, your craftsman, your farmhouse, traditional, however you want to, whatever they got, however you want to go about it. Typically, you could take that initial elevation and alter it with some upgrades, save you tons of money. The other one, most builders have 8-foot ceiling for basement, from floor to ceiling, 8 foot. If you want to have that 9 or 10 foot height, you got to get that done in the beginning. There's nothing you can do about it. It's gonna be a large cost. It's gonna be money for you to do it. But you go to finish it if you want more space. I know a lot of people have home gyms now, especially after COVID hit. You got to get that done up front because you're not changing that down the road. You are just, it's done. It's finished. You're not doing it. And if you want less poles in your basement, you got to upgrade to the I-beams unless the builder has those as standard. Some builders, that's a standard. Other builders, they'll slap together 2x10s, 2x12s, and the next thing you know, you got post, and you go to finish it, and there's just columns all in your basement, and it makes it a headache trying to finish off those basements. I get it. So those are the two big things that you need to know before you even sit down with those builders, so you can plan accordingly and potentially save a lot of money. Don't forget, this is Northeast Ohio. There's going to be time delays with your project. I typically tell people, give it a year. No matter who you're building with, just plan for a full year before you're moved into the house. Obviously, there's builds that, it may be 8 months, 9 months from the time you sit down to the time you move in, but just plan a year so you're not expecting anything sooner to be done, because you'll get your hopes up and then you're like, well, this is taking forever. Well, now you got to factor in the time delays as well. And that's another reason why I say a year, because we're in winter right now. This winter has been pretty harsh up here. So you may not have work going on depending on the stage of your build due to the winter, or if it gets bad enough. I can tell you, when I was in the trades, I wasn't driving to work when the roads were terrible. It wasn't worth it. So that's pushing everything back depending on how long it goes. And as an electrician, when it got to a certain temperature, the wire, the outer jacket that covers it, would end up breaking. And if that's happening, we're out. We cannot pull wire until it gets warm enough. There's nothing we can do. So just plan accordingly. The rain is going to stop production on your house. The snow is going to stop production on your house. Now, a couple of nice things about building a brand new home. You have an option, because obviously most of you are going to have a house to sell, or you're already in a house. Not always the case, but if you are in a house, you have a mortgage. You can take out loans. One of them is a bridge loan, where they could start the building process and get you pre-approved for everything without having your current mortgage go against you. So there is a means where you don't have to move out and rent for a good, 8 to 12 months and deal with moving multiple times. You could stay in your house throughout the whole build process. So they do have ways around it to help you out, which is fantastic. And then the other great thing is the value that you get with building a brand new home. So you're going to have warranties attached. There's a couple builders in the area that have tremendous warranties, one of which I will link the video at the end of this. Their warranties, from what I have found, is second to none. They have a 30-year structural warranty, lifetime waterproofing. It's phenomenal, but I'll link that at the end of the video. But you get those warranties, and then the home values of it. I know, for instance, when my brother built his house, it ended up increasing to today. He has an extra $200,000 in equity, and he just built it. They moved in just a couple years ago. It wasn't that long ago. It was three and a half years ago. So there was that, hike in the housing, which helps, obviously. But I'm just using that as an example to let you know that your home value increases when you build on those new properties. It does go up. So if you do see like an existing development that's still being built up, and say somebody has to sell for whatever reason, and it's been there for a year, you're gonna see the value of that home is greater than building the brand new house. That's just the way it goes because everything's developed. The land's developed, everything's done. So those are two great things with building. But just keep in mind the permits that you don't hear about, the possible like changes that you may have to put in place. You know, keep those hidden costs in mind that I was telling you about, the lot prep that most people don't know about when you're building on your own lot. The fact that even chain builders don't have the land factored into that price that you see on the sign. There's so many hidden costs that go into it, but there are so many ways that you can save a ton of money. And I would love to help you out with that. If you need help with that, have people just like you reaching out every single week. Contact me directly here. I would love to help you navigate this process and make sure that it is gonna be like as much stress removed as possible, and it's gonna be a great experience, and you're gonna come out on top. You're gonna be within that budget. You're not going to be overwhelmed, and you're not gonna have any regret. I wanna make sure that happens for you. If you got any value from the video, smash the like button. It's greatly appreciated. Drop a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on building a house. Is it something that you're looking to do? Is it something where you're like, I'm not even touching this? Let me know down below. And if you haven't already, click subscribe, turn notifications on so you can stay up to date on all my future videos I have coming your way. And as promised, here is the Diani Gold package of what you get when you build with this custom builder. Your mind is gonna be blown.